right? XPath we saw was of two parts, two kinds. One was complete XPath, which started with HTML tag. Okay, the complete XPath starts with the tag known as HTML. Fine, and there's an XPath like this. Okay, this XPath is a partial XPath. Fine, and I told you that partial XPaths are better to use because they are more shorter. Fine. In complete XPath, if something changes in between, right, then it actually gives a problem. Fine, but in partial XPaths, you have got an option. Fine, if something changes in between, this thing will hardly change. Okay, now practically, how do we make XPath? I told you can use Firebug to determine the XPath, but practically, at times there are scenarios when you have to make your own custom XPath yourself, right? I'll talk about those scenarios. I'll talk about them later on, right? But firstly, let me talk about an important concept here. If I run this code which I made on day 4, it's not running. Yeah, this will open Firefox. Okay, now if you observe carefully, then the Firefox which is opened when you run this program is very different than the regular Firefox which is installed on your system. This Firefox has got no add-on called Firebug inside it. If you go to the bookmarks, it will not have the bookmarks which are there in your system. Fine. Well, the thing is, this Firefox looks like something like a brand new Firefox which is installed on your system. Okay, so why is this, right? And secondly, at times you would want that you should have Firebug installed inside Firefox which opens up. Suppose some error comes up in this script, okay, on this page, on the login page. So you want to investigate the elements right on this Firefox browser only, and Firebug is not there. So first let us see why Firebug is not there on this Firefox, and later on we will do something through which it will come. Okay, now do you guys know about the concept of Firefox profiling? Do you guys know about the concept of Firefox profiling? No?
So when I went to your recorded session, so I saw that when two users want to share the system, then profiling is needed. So that's what I saw from your recorded session. Is this right?
Not exactly two people, but in the sense that you can have different instances of Firefox running on your machine. Okay, that was just an example. For example, me and one of my friends, we both are using the same system. Okay, I want that when I launch Firefox, I should have my set of settings, my set of bookmarks. My friend wants that when he launches Firefox. I'm sorry guys, my throat is not so well today. I'm speaking with gaps. Fine. My friend, when he launches Firefox, he should have his set of bookmarks. Okay. So for that, we have the concept of Firefox profiling. Okay. To understand it better, fine. To understand it better, open Firefox and close it from File Exit menu. make sure you close it from File Exit menu. Fine. So Firefox has been closed, right? Now go to Start menu, Run, okay, and write the command firefox.exe-p profile manager. Give this command. This kind of window will come up. I'll give this command on chat to everyone. This is the command. Okay, now this is the default profile which is installed on your system. You can create another profile known as, say, Selenium. Fine. You can launch this profile. Okay. Now again a Firefox will open up. Now this Firefox would be like a brand new Firefox installed on your system. Fine. Suppose I go to google.com on it and I bookmark the page google.com. Fine. Then what I do is I write over here download Firebug and I go to the Firebug website and I add the Firebug to the Firefox. So this Firefox over here will have all settings which are for this particular profile. Okay, it will not be having anything which is there in the other default profile. Okay, you see that Firebug has been installed. Okay, and if you actually go and open up the profile manager again, so this is the default profile, this is the name profile, and you can keep on creating as many profiles as you want. Each profile will have its own setting. Suppose sometimes you want to do, I am working on this machine, fine, that is fine, I have a Firefox, but sometimes if you want to change the proxy settings and do the testing, okay, you can create a separate profile, change the proxy settings in it and do the testing, right? Now what Selenium does is that whenever you write WebDriver driver equals to new Firefox driver, it creates a new profile for Firefox every time it runs. That means it every time starts a kind of new browser with no cookies, no history, right? And it starts a fresh browser. And it destroys the profile in the end when the code is over, right? So new Firefox profile will create a new profile of Firefox in the system, and the profile gets destroyed once the code is over. Alright. Question is, can we have a name to profile? Yes, that's what I do over here, right? I created the profile with the name Selenium. I can also again create a profile with the name test. This is the name of the profile. Okay, but the profile with Selenium launches, like it's a temporary profile. It gets destroyed after the program is over. Fine. Now, yes, profiling concept is only available in Firefox browser. All right. Can we automate web services using Selenium? You should not do that. This OPUI is a better tool for web services. Selenium is not meant for web services. All right. Now, now suppose what you want is that when you write WebDriver driver equals new Firefox driver, a browser should open up, but only the profile which you created should open up. For example, I want that whenever I write WebDriver driver equals new Firefox driver, the profile Selenium should launch. That's what I want. Okay, so how do I do this? Right. To do this, you need to understand the concept of constructors in Java language. Fine. You create a new class. Right. I'll explain you the concept of constructors. Right. Suppose I create a new class known as uh, say car. Simple class car. Right. In it, I can specify a few properties of the class, like string name of the car, int price of the car. Okay. Now suppose I make another class known as test car. Inside it, I write car C1 equals to new car. Right. I'll create three objects of the car class. Fine. Now I will have to initialize these objects. I will have to write C1 dot name equals to say car A. C1 dot price say 100. Then C2 dot name is car B. C2 dot price is 200. Fine. So you are observing out here that each and in every object I have to initialize separately. Okay. Now car class just had two properties inside it. What if car class had 10 different properties? Then it would be a very cumbersome process. It would be very tiresome process to instantiate each and every property of the object by writing 10 lines for every object. Alright, we are lucky that I have just created two properties. Fine. So this wastes a lot of time, initialize each and every property of the object. To save this, we use constructors. So constructors, they are nothing but they help us in faster initialization of the objects. Alright. Now what is a constructor? Constructor will be something which will be called when the object is created. In the car class, if I write like this, public car. So this is the constructor of the class. The rule is that the name of the constructor should be same as the name of the class. Okay. And there should be no return type to this constructor. It should not be returning anything. Alright. So the name of the constructor should be same as the name of the class. I write over here system.out.println inside constructor. Okay. Now when you run this test car, inside constructor will be called 3 times automatically. Whenever you write new car, whenever you create the object of the car class, the constructor is called automatically. If I write new car over here, then constructor will be called 4 times. This is the fourth call. This is coming from here. Okay. So constructor is something which is called when the object is created. Alright. Fine. So now I can make a new type of constructor. For example, I'll make a constructor known as public car. In this, you will pass over the name and the price of the car. We write over here name equals to n, price equals to p. So when you call this constructor, alright, when you call this constructor, you will call it like this. You write car C4 equals to new car, and on the fly you will give the name of the car and the price. So in this case, I'm initializing the object, and I'm creating the object, and on the fly I'm giving the properties of the object in the car class itself. In the car constructor, I'm passing the name and price of the car. Alright, and you can write over here system.out.println name of the car C4 dot name. You can print it. So this is the constructor usage. You don't have to write separate lines to initialize the objects. You can directly pass over the properties of the object in the constructor itself. Okay, see, it's printing the properties. Right? No, you cannot write like this. You cannot write C1 equals to new car. It will give you an error. No. Java is a very sensitive language. You have to write car C1 equals to new car. Okay. So this is technically known as a default constructor. This constructor is known as default constructor. And this one will be technically known as overloaded constructor. Overloading means the name remains the same, okay, but the number of input and the type of input parameters, they differ. This is what overloading is. Alright. Similarly, you can have other types of constructors as well. I can create another constructor which accepts 3 variables, 4 variables, 5. There is no restriction, right? You have to call it accordingly and pass the data accordingly, right? Yes, it is mandatory to pass all the arguments, Rajkumar. I cannot write something like this. I'll get an error. It is, if I have to write something like this, then I will have to create another constructor known as public car, which just accepts string name. That's it. And inside it you can write name equals to n. So in this case, right, in this case the third constructor which I created will be called. It is mandatory to pass all the arguments. If you don't want to pass all the arguments, you can make another customized constructor which takes the arguments which only you want. Alright. I hope this is clear to everyone. Fine. Now how is this concept used when we use Selenium? Fine. Well, the thing is, if you look at the Javadocs for Selenium, go to the website seleniumhq.org, go to the download section and look at the Javadoc. You will find that there is a class known as, hold on, where's the class? Look at this class first, Firefox driver. Fine. It's got so many constructors inside it. One of the constructor over here takes the object of Firefox profile class. Firefox profile is another class which is actually representing the profile of Firefox on a system. Okay, right. Mohan, constructor has got no uh, you can say return type, but the constructor ends over here. For example, car constructor is this much, this constructor is this much, this constructor is this much. Below that you can have other functions as well in the class outside. Okay, right. So the Firefox profile class inside Selenium represents the profile on your system. Alright. Look, I'll tell you what to do. I'll create a new class. Rather, I'll create a new. I should have created a new project over here. Selenium Div 5 and add the jars into it. Car test car. Copy these files. Paste them in. Right. I'll create a new class known as profile example. Okay. Now, if you write over here, there's an internal class known as profile ini. I'll create the object of this class, import it. Alright. This class, when you create the object, it virtually represents all the profiles which are there on my system. Right now, I have got 3 profiles on my system. Hold on. These are the 3 profiles. So this class will automatically find all the profiles which are in this system when you create the object. Okay. Now you write over here all profiles dot get the profile function called as Selenium. So this will return you the profile Selenium, and rather what it does is it returns you this function. It returns you the object of an internal class Firefox profile. Firefox profile. I'll write my profile equals to this. Okay, from all the profiles get the profile Selenium. So this returns you the object reference of my Firefox profile. Now you create the object of Firefox driver, or you can write WebDriver. Driver equals to new Firefox driver. Okay, and in the constructor pass over the profile over here. This is the constructor of Firefox driver class. Inside the constructor pass the profile object reference. So when you run this code, it will actually open the Selenium profile. If you run this, see the profile has been opened. It's got Firebug inside it. If you look at this thing on the top right, Firebug is there. Okay. If you go to the bookmarks, I had bookmarked Google in this profile, right? Google is also there. So I'm able to open a specific profile which is having Firebug inside it. So when I am testing now, when I do the real-time testing, I can have these add-ons and settings inside Firefox as described in this profile, and we can launch that one. If I don't create a profile, then Selenium launches an absolutely fresh browser every time. It creates its own profile, launches it, and when the program is over, it destroys the profile. Alright, is this thing clear to everyone? In the car class, Yeah, I told you earlier, right? You can write WebDriver driver equals to new Firefox driver. You can write the interface reference equals to new class which is implementing the interface. In day 3 we had seen interfaces, right? I had created this and I had created mobile test in which I told you interface reference equals to new class which implements the interface. Yes, if you want to have the script run on different machines, then you need to have uh, Firefox profile on all the machines where you want to run the script. Question is being asked is why it returns Firefox profile class. You mean why this line is returning Firefox profile? Right, because this is internal. If you go to profiles INI class, if you look at the Javadocs, they have made it in such a way. You look at the class profiles INI. This is the class. Okay, it's got a function get profile. You just have to pass the profile name, and this function returns you the object reference of the class known as Firefox profile. Right? It's been made in such a way by the people who made Selenium. They made this class in such a way. When you write get profile, it gives you the profile. Okay. Look, in Selenium, you will hardly find the need of making your own classes and all everything. Everything is inbuilt. You just need to know what to call. Okay, fine. So, any questions from anybody? No questions. Okay. Guys, the thing is, today I'll just be able to take the class for half an hour. Fine. I got to go to a dentist by 9 o'clock. Fine. I have half an hour with me and I have appointment with dentist. So that's why. Real time, do we use default browser or different? Real time, we use profiling, right? Yeah, yeah, Adam, this would be kind of at the rate before. Yes, yes, this would be kind of at the rate before. Okay, so I have to stop here for today. I'm sorry for that. Okay, I got an appointment with dentist. All right. So what I'll do is I'll send you the recorded session for today. I just explained you the concept of profiling. That's it, nothing more. Fine. Tomorrow, what I'll do is I'll talk about XPaths again. I'll come back to XPaths. Okay. I will talk about making your customized XPaths, how to make your XPaths yourself rather than using Firebug because that's what we do practically. Okay. How will I test if other browsers with different profile using Selenium? You cannot create profile in Chrome or IE. This is only there in Firefox. You cannot do that. In Chrome or IE, there is no profiling. Alright. So I'll talk about customized XPaths, making them, how to utilize them in your code. Alright. Okay. And I'll again come over to object identification, which I had discussed in day 4. Okay, I'll come to objects. I'll come back to objects. Alright. So that's it. I'm ending up